Let's get started then. Thank you for your time today. Thanks for joining us. We've got a few things to get through. As you can see, the agenda is showing at the moment. So brief introduction to stock in the channel. We'll have a look at how resellers use the site, the distributor profile pages and what's required from you as distributors to be listed on the site. We'll have a look at feed formats, or discuss feed formats. And then really we'll have a look at the interface that you receive from stock in the channel that allows you to manage the price files that you push in and the reseller requests to see pricing. So we'll get started on there. We've got a question and answer session or section included in the agenda. However, if you do have questions, feel free to type away as they come into your head. You know, one of my colleagues will answer as we go. So first of all, we're going to take a quick look at the site as a reseller. There are about 50,000 users on stock in the channel. Not all of them log in every day. Some of them might be once a month or once a year. But there are, however, hundreds of people that use it day in, day out. You know, and some of those users are making 50, 100, you know, a couple of hundred searches every couple of days on the site. The site itself achieves, the UK site receives in the region of 60 to 65,000 searches a day. That's free text searches that we count. That's where someone's entered something in this box up here. Just put a part number in or a description. It says, yeah, about 65,000 a day. The people using the site are predominantly sales and purchasing staff at resellers in the IT, office, telecoms, consumer electronics markets. The biggest percentage is probably IT, but we are seeing a lot more office supplies users, if you like, or businesses registered. Yeah, and the consumer electronics part of it really has sort of grown as we have more sort of retail web stores driven off the back end of stock in the channel. So how the reseller uses the site: predominantly they'll come up here, they'll log in the morning, they'll arrive on this page, and then they'll have a requirement and they'll start typing some part numbers in here. You know, I've just picked a toner cartridge. It's a part number that I know very well. As I say, we are logged in on a demo account. This account has access to some pricing via a package called Compare Prices, which is the first sort of service that we charge resellers for. So everybody would see, everybody that's logged in will see this column, which is the stock level. Only people that subscribe to the Compare Prices service, which is £50 a month for the UK, per business that is, would see prices in this column as well for the distributors that they have connected to their stock in the channel account. So yeah, people will just come in here, they type in whatever part numbers and descriptions or whatever it is they're looking for. They sometimes filter by brands and, you know, however they want to get to the products. Other times they might come through the category. But ultimately what they're getting is immediate visibility of who has the inventory that they're looking for. So in this instance, straight away you can see, well, okay, North Amber look to be pretty keen on that, 3,750. Sizable difference between those and the price out of Ingram. So you can see quite quickly how a salesperson would use it to immediately be able to quote their client for a product, knowing what their cost is and also the availability of the stock. Yeah, so that's a real sort of quick look at how the resellers use the site, and that's not the main focus of today. So we'll move on to the next section, which is actually the setting up of price feeds. So if we go back here, we click on this, it takes you to the account page, and you can see that this particular account we're logged in as has a visibility of pricing from 24 active distributors. And if we click on this Manage Distributors page, we can see a list of those that are set up on the account. I'm going to pick on Exertis quite a bit today. There's reasons why. So we'll just find Exertis in this list, and I'm going to remove access to that. And if we find them down here, Exertis IT. So every distributor on Stock in the Channel has a distributor's profile page. If you join as a distributor, you'll get one of these. It always contains your company logo, a link to your website, and a section here for contact details. And this should be what we would call public contact details. It's quite often it will include a sales email address, you know, a postal or mail address, sales switchboard number. Try and avoid putting in people's actual names and direct phone numbers and email addresses in there. So this means that anybody looking for an item can quickly find you, even if they haven't got pricing. We just go back to a search result. Any of the distributors that offer that item are here, and I'm going to pick on Exertis again. If they had stock and a price visible, you could just click that and it takes you straight to this page where you can find the contact details. So the idea is to make it quick and easy for the reseller to be able to find the stock and the price, but then be able to contact the appropriate supplier for that item. However, we haven't got pricing for Exertis at the moment on this account, but we do have the compare prices package plugged in. So what the reseller does is they hit this button here to set up pricing, and they put in an account number, which in this instance is going to be test 123, and hit the apply button. And it now says you applied to see pricing. This is a reseller requesting it, of course, and the status is awaiting approval. If we go back to the distributors view all page, we can see here down in the pending applications, some of these have been rejected, but we got Exertis awaiting approval. And what's just happened as well is I have received an email, because currently I'm receiving the inquiries for any reseller that requests access to Exertis pricing. So this would be what you receive from Stock in the Channel. This is basically saying, hey, you've got a new request from a reseller to see pricing within Stock in the Channel. Obviously, if it was you that was the distributor that I wanted to see pricing from, you would get this email, and you provide to us the address to send those emails to, effectively. So this is saying, click here to see the application details. I'm not going to quite do that because I'm not logged in as the right person. Instead, I'm going to switch across, and we are now Exertis. And in here we've got slightly different links. We see distributors, but we also see managed resellers. And if I click into this side, inside the managed resellers, straight away we see the request from Brendon Demo, and it was applied for today. And the status is awaiting approval. Hit the approve reject button, and we see the account number that I entered here, and also the details from the account registration, so the address of the business, the phone number, the email address. So if this is you receiving a request from a reseller, and it's a reseller that you're not already trading with, effectively that's a sales lead. You give that to your sales team. Hey, go and qualify them, and depending on the pricing model of your business, you may have perhaps 1, 2, 3, 10, 100 different pricing levels, and you would probably assign a reseller to a specific pricing model based on their turnover or how much they spend with you. So the same is true here. We don't tie you down to a single price because it's Stock in the Channel. In fact, we want the reseller to see the actual price they would see if they logged onto your website. So what we're going to do now is assign this client to a price file, and you've got the option to assign them to any existing price files that are in the system, and there are many, as we are logged in as Exertis. And I'm going to create a new one just to show you how easy this is once we're set up. So we're actually connecting to ftpmicrop.com. I'm going to call the feed, the price list test, Brendon, oops, with one E. Some interesting spelling going on. and I've got some credentials ready for me, so that there's already a feed in place on this location. Notice I left these fields blank, and what that's going to do now is connect to the Exertis FTP site to a specific folder that those credentials allow you to access. And Stock in the Channel, if they found their 5 files, it would list them all. So I could put the file name in, but it does say optional. As I say, if there was more than one file there, it would give me a list, and I would be able to pick the one that relates to this account. Actually, there's only one file in that location, so it's automatically selected it. We encourage distributors, when they set up price files, to have a default or a standard format to their files. Whatever the whether it's an Excel, a CSV, an XML, doesn't really matter. We can suck them all in. However, what we do say is try and make the format of them all the same. This way, when you get to this stage of the setup wizard, we already know that in column 1 is the distributor SKU, and in column 7 in this instance, or 4 and 7, is the distributor SKU and the price. So we just hit the next button. Stock in the Channel goes away, builds a report. It scanned through 38,000 lines. It said there was 0 errors with the file, and that's it. These are the prices. Hit the finish button. We've now created a new price file, and we can now go back to the account page, view the managed resellers, and we can see, hang on, there we go, Stock in the Channel demo account. There's a couple there. So this is the one that we just requested, and the status is active, assigned to MicroP. So we know that now this client can see the pricing. If we just go back to the client page, so I'm now the reseller again, and we can still see the application here is awaiting approval. Hit the refresh button, and now Exertis has come up here. It's marked as not imported yet, so we hit the import button. The system goes away and runs an import. It's actually going to import all of these prices, so we'll leave that chugging away for a few minutes. So in terms of your feed formats, if you're going to provide information to Stock in the Channel, there's certain pieces or elements that we have to have included in your data file. We run multiple different import types throughout the course of the day of a 24-hour period. So we have a product import, which runs through the night, and at this point we're not interested at all in stock level or price. We're really all about products at this point, so we're looking for manufacturer, SKU, brand, description, images via a URL, so image URL, long description, specifications, weight, EAN, as much information as you are able to output on a feed, really. And we import that through the course of the evening, and we match the products from all of the distributors together. We have a lot of tools underneath under the hood in Stock in the Channel for matching brands and multiple different SKUs together, so that we end up with one product available from 7 or 8 distributors rather than 7 or 8 separate products. So that's what we do during the night. The compulsory fields on that file would be manufacturer SKU, brand, product title, distributor SKU, which is your own internal part number. If you use manufacturer SKUs as your internal part number, that's fine. We don't need it twice. We'll just map the same column again. We then, throughout the course of the day, we import stock every hour within the system. So we'll come every hour, we'll collect a file, and we'll update the stock level for the products that are already within the system. This can be the same file as your product file, but it can also be a separate file. So you could have a product file and a stock file. The reason you would do that is because a stock file, we're actually only interested in 2 columns of data. That would be the distributor SKU and the stock level. So if you've got a lot of products in your portfolio and a lot of content in your product file, sometimes it's lighter and more efficient on your system and ours, to be fair, if we import a file that's only got 2 columns on it. So you can generate that file more often without tying up your system's resources. Price files, as we've kind of already briefly looked at, effectively you can have as many price files as you like. And again, the only things that we really have to have on that would be distributor SKU and the price. Once you've got your products into the system and as many price files as you want, you can just keep updating those particular files once a day. So overnight we import products, every hour we import stock, and on prices we actually import them by default once a day, quite early in the morning. But as you saw a moment ago, we give the reseller the ability to go and press an import button whenever they like, and that will go and collect the file and bring in the values. So just refresh this page, the imports happen now, and on Exertis it's imported all of those products. And if we click on here, we're now seeing the price being displayed. There's a few NAs here, not surprising actually. So with price files or product files, what this basically means is that there are products within the product file that aren't on the price file, so we don't know what price to show. And that can be useful actually, because it might be that you have what's called restrictive catalog, where you have to be an approved reseller to get a price for a specific product. Well, that's fine. The price file that you assign the client to, you can just miss those items off, and then we can't show them a price. So that's you know, a feature, if you like. If you submit a product file with everything on, and then your price files only with the items that that reseller is allowed to purchase from you, that's probably the best way to manage it. Excuse me. So with the resellers, I'm just going to flick back to being Exertis again. A week down the road, I sort of decide, well, I don't want to show pricing anymore to this client. It's quite simple. You just come in here. You can search for them, obviously, by client name. On the previous screen here, you can just search by, I don't know, CCS Media. We can come in here and say edit, and we can reject. I'm not going to do that right now, obviously, but that would basically withdraw the visibility of pricing from that client, and you can do that to anybody. It's not permanent, you know. If you change your mind later, you can always reassign them to another price file again. But the important thing here is that you are in complete control over which resellers see which price, and you know, or any price, and you can withdraw that at any point. And that's what this interface is designed to do, is to give you the control over that. So yeah, managing resellers is quite easy. Managing price files is quite easy. So you have a manage price list button, and you can see a full list of all of your price files. Exertis have hundreds. Some resellers, or some distributors rather, will have bands, A, B, C, D, gold, silver, bronze, whatever you like to call it. You can create those, and then as you can see here, NBG is the network buying group. So there's 15 businesses that are members of the network buying group that use stock in the channel, so they're all on the same price, you know, price file, effectively. Okay, next on my list really is about the costs, effectively, of listing on the UK site. The UK site is our sort of flagship home site, and there is a fee to list. We charge £900 per quarter to list as an unlimited number of SKUs. If you have a very small or modest sized catalogue, then we would review that and consider whether we're going to make. Fundamentally, we want to deliver return on investment, so we need to make sure that you're getting found in searches. If you're not getting found, then no one's going to know you're here. When you first start to list on stock in the channel, we would, and upon receipt of the first payment and completion of setup, obviously, we would put an announcement in this section here. So you may have seen on occasion new distributor listed, and we put your logo here with a bit of marketing text, and when you click on these links, it would link back through to your distributor page on stock in the channel. We would also publicize it on our social networks. So Twitter, we've got reasonably strong and growing following on Twitter. We have LinkedIn and Facebook, so we would announce it in those places, and we would also let the trade press know as well. Periodically we send a blast out to some of the trade press saying, hey, stock in the channel been adding new distributors, and here's 3 or 4 new ones that we've added. We'd also do one other thing at the introductory sort of stage, if you like, which is to give you some advertising credits to run banner advertisements on stock in the channel. We normally give these to new distributors upon receipt of the first payment, and it really allows you to arrive with your product listing and straight away make a bit of noise on the site, get yourself some visibility. There are 3 main places, if you like, where we have advertisements displayed in stock in the channel. I'm going to go back to my favorite search result, and the first one is pretty obvious. It's down both sides of the page. This is called wallpaper, or web wings by some, web wings. We sell this as a daily position, and it would use 4 advertising credits, which is how we manage our advertising, is in credits. So we run a calendar for this, because obviously there's only 20 days a month where we can actually fill that position, and you would be able to take that for 4 credits for 1 day. This position generates between 60 and 70,000, I would say, impressions a day. This is displayed pretty much on every page within stock in the channel. The second position is the banner or leaderboard up here, and the third position is down here, which is the skyscraper. Now you'll notice that these 2 adverts are quite contextual. So I've done a search for a toner cartridge. It's triggered or found, the first search result here is laser toner cartridges, and lo and behold, the search, the advert at the top is for Kyocera toner, and the one down the side is Kyocera again, but this time this is actually West Coast advertising. If we refresh the page, we'll probably get some different ads. Oh, same at the top, same at the side. Typical. So within stock in the channel, we have an advertising module, which can be self-serve, and if we create new advert, you have a whole load of categories effectively that we try to push products into. So every product we try and categorize it so that we group together in a navigation structure. So we could look at computer monitors, for example. This category in the last 30 days has received 51,802 impressions. That's where someone's typed something in a search box, and the search result lived in the category computer monitors. So you've got a special offer for BenQ or whatever brand of monitor that you have, and maybe you get some sponsorship from the brand for that. You can run an advert on stock in the channel that comes up whenever somebody's searching for any brand of monitor. So if we go back to this page and just type in here, by the way, that's not how people tend to search very much, but it does the result. So we can say, okay, monitors Samsung. Somebody searches for this product, whatever it is, it's in the category monitors, and if you had your advert on that category, it would be displayed here basically. So these 2 positions, the banner and the skyscraper, can be targeted at particular categories, and we display here the amount of traffic you would expect to get over a 30-day period if you were to advertise on that category. Okay, there are a huge number of categories in stock in the channel. I mean, this is the top level categorization, but it just goes on, you know, and there are probably several hundred categories. Not all of them are very big. You know, some of them don't get enough traffic. Top 40 are all above 7,000 searches a month. We backfill the empty categories with what's called run of site. So this is the awareness piece, if you like. If you're promoting, I don't know, an event that you're organising, or like a showcase, or just want to tell everybody something about your business, or that you've arrived on stock in the channel, run of site's probably the way to go, because this fills all of the empty categories and guarantees to get seen, you know, multiple times. We have a self-serve model, so you can just say, yep, next, I want the advert to start on a date in the future. Pick the date. I want an image advert. It gives you the dimensions here for the banner and the dimensions for the scanner. You can put a destination URL in, so somewhere that people land if they click, the title, and then just upload a file and hit the next button. Once you've created an advert, it does go into moderation, and we then have to approve it. We have to make sure that we think it's in the right place, that it's appropriate, and that the link is working. And sometimes we'll call you up and say, hey, have you considered doing this instead? Or you know, that's the job of moderation. You can purchase credits, but as I say, we give you an introductory 4 credits, but this is how much the credits would cost if you were to purchase them going forward. So 4 credits, £1,000. The more credits you buy, the lower the cost they become. Credits will just sit on your account. So if we go back to the account page here, I'm currently logged in, as I say, as Exertis, and you can see they have 29 credits available, 6 adverts running, 47 adverts rejected, and 206 adverts expired. So they're a fairly heavy advertiser over the course of time. This section here doesn't yet include the wallpaper. You can't self-serve wallpaper. We have to do that for you. So you send us the artwork and the link, and we agree the date, and we put it up. You get an interface as well for managing the adverts, where you can view how many impressions they've had throughout the course. So these are the ones that are live at the moment. It's had, you know, this is on the smartphones category. It's been start date the 27th of the 7th, so it's got about 9 days left to go, 11 days left to go. It's had 5,163 impressions and 5 clicks. So yeah, but you can see the history of the adverts on this particular account. They go back a long way. You can archive them, but most people like to be able to look back at the history. So yeah, that's a real whistle-stop tour of advertising. What I tend to do with a lot of my distributors now is that we actually build marketing or campaign plans. So it may be that you go to some of your vendors and say, hey, I'm going to do a campaign on stock in the channel, give me some money, and you agree a budget with them. They say, yep, £2,000, and you come to me and say, I've got £2,000 to promote monitors in September and October, and I go away and prepare a plan. Now, whenever I do these plans, I tend to be able to give you better value than if you just bought the credits off the page and ran it yourself, because effectively what I can do is I can look at the categories, decide where I think it should be positioned. I've got an overview, if you like, of what other ads are running at the same time that might compete with you. I also include the wallpaper, the banners, the skyscrapers, the various elements, and come back with a proposal that says, okay, I can deliver 400,000 impressions over this period, and here's your cost per thousand approximately. So those, I'm tending to do a lot more of those plans with the advertisers that are quite regular with us now. That's the end of the session, really. I'm going to unmute everybody now. If you have any questions, you know, please feel free to ask away. Hopefully it's been interesting for you. Any questions from anybody? No? Okay. Well, when I end the session, there will be a download option. So there'll be a couple of files there. One of them is a file that explains how to all about the file generation, the file formats that we accept, the columns that we need on your file transfer method. So we prefer FTP. FTP is the easiest, but we can work with HTML download. With the file transfer method, you can either push to our site or we can come and collect from you. We don't mind. The other thing I haven't mentioned is the international sites. So although we charge to list on our UK site, if you did wish to get involved in any of our European domains or other sites, so we have multiple countries that we have instances of stock in the channel working for. So all of these countries all have their own dedicated stock in the channel, and you're able to list on those. If you have an existing business, you have to demonstrate, hey, I have an office or I have clientele who regularly purchase from me in those countries, and we would look to have from you the marketing text translated into the appropriate language. I do have a question actually from Chris Hikin. Do you offer a mechanism to differentiate between the target market vertical, for example, the ability to offer a specific SKU for product for public sector only and a different SKU for education? Tricky one. Okay, so between the target market vertical, we don't as such. So resellers are resellers in our book, so they all have visibility of the products. There is some functionality which we developed to handle the Microsoft Surface products, which may interest you and may actually answer your question. So Microsoft Surface products, if you're familiar with it, are only available to specific resellers who are approved Microsoft Surface resellers. They're distributed officially in the UK by Ingram and Tech Data, and obviously two big distributors that we work with very closely. The problem is because of the way our import model works, and it's the only way it can work, by the way, where we import all of the products once per distributor and all of the stock once per distributor, and then prices can be per client. Because of that, it means that if the product's on your product file, it's visible to all and everybody, all and sundry. Surface products, Microsoft didn't want that. They didn't want any resellers who were not authorized to sell the product to have visibility of the stock, let alone visibility of the price. Now, that was a problem because out of the 120 odd Microsoft Surface approved resellers, about 80 of them are quite heavy stock in the channel users. So we needed a solution. Fortunately, we found one. We were able to, on the incoming product feed, the master product feed coming from both Ingram and Tech Data, they could identify a supplier ID. So for Microsoft Surface products, there was a code and it was 11201 or something like that. And that applied to every single Microsoft Surface product on their feed. Because obviously we couldn't just look for Microsoft Surface because the brand is Microsoft. It's not Microsoft Surface, that's the name of the product. So we looked for this ID in the column that was identified, and whenever we see that particular ID during our product import during the night, we mark that product as restricted catalog. And what that means is that nobody sees that product on the front end of stock in the channel. So if I log in here and I'm in and I go for Surface, we will see it from Beta and Memory Bank, but we're not seeing it. Tell a lie. Distributors, we're seeing it from Tech Data. They've added it to their main feed. Okay. No, these aren't the Surface products. These aren't the Microsoft products. These are things that work with the Microsoft Surface. So there's lots of alternative brand accessories, effectively, that work with the Surface. But the actual Surface products themselves, Microsoft Surface products, you will only see them on stock in the channel if you have got a price on your price file for that product, because when we imported the products from both Tech Data and Ingram, we've marked these items as restricted catalog, i.e. if you haven't got a price, you don't see them. So if you've got different segments of your customer base who are authorized to sell certain products, but most of your customers aren't allowed to sell that, that's fine, we can handle that. Some of the other more quirky and odd requirements that we have something called stock threshold. There was a particular distributor that was importing, well, the main distributor, master distributor if you like, for mobile phones, and their concern was that they landed these phones in containers, and if one of their competitor had a couple of hundred left on their shelf and they've just landed 5,000 or 10,000 of these phones, that competitor could cut the price and all of the stock that they had in their container just lost a load of value, because they have to match the price. So stock ceiling, what that means is that if you set a figure and you say most you ever want to display on any product, any single SKU is 100, that's fine. It doesn't matter whether your feed into us says you've got 1,000, 500, 750, we'll display 100. If your stock says 99 or 50, we'll display the actual value, but it'll never go higher than the ceiling that we agree. So stock ceiling's available. We haven't got to use it. There's probably 3 or 4 distributors that use it out of the 150 odd that are listed. Warehouse location as well is something that's quite interesting. So if you have multiple warehouses, both in the UK, Europe maybe, we can display the inventory separately for that. So if we looked at somebody like control find, I think Spices do it. Yeah, so sometimes you'll see this little plus sign basically indicates where the inventory is held. We display the total inventory, but then we have this little bubble that you can see the actual location of that. So if you've got warehouses either in north and south, Midlands, whatever, or even in Europe, you can display the stock that might be available from another warehouse. And this is quite useful. I mean, what I've done with some distributors is they've got a Central European stock and a UK stock, and we name the UK stock warehouse, instead of calling it Glasgow or Bristol or whatever it is, we call it Next Day. And then the stock that's in Holland we call 48 Hour as the name of the warehouse. So that's again giving the reseller a good visibility of what they can get now and what they might be able to get in a few days time. And the way that that's handled is on the stock feed coming in, there's 2 ways. You can either have a third column with, so you'd have your part number, the warehouse code or location, and then the stock. So in that instance, the product might appear 2 times or 5 times, depending on how many warehouses you have. Or you have a column for each warehouse. We don't mind. I mean, as I say, our system is built and designed to handle incoming feeds in lots of different formats. So we can work with you to handle those requirements. Any further questions? No? Okay, so please do download the files. There's 2 there. There's one of them which is tells you a little bit about how to structure your files, or provides you with the information that we must have on your feeds. Then it also details all of the optional fields. Where we do match distributor products against our data partners, which are IceCat and Beckham, 2 main partners that we work with, and we pull in the content that they have to try and enrich the content and put it into a standard format. However, if there's products in your range that are quite niche or from lesser known brands, chances are we won't get a match. So at that point we fall back to the content provided by distribution, i.e. the stuff that's on your feed. So the more information you can include, the better. Turnaround time for getting distributors set up from nowhere to live, it can be as quick as 2 to 3 days, subject to workload and availability of people this end. So fundamentally, what we need from you is the company logo, some marketing text, public contact information, and a feed. The feed is normally the thing that's the slowest because sometimes there's a bit of backwards and forwards in to get it right and make sure that we have everything we need. And then a transfer method. As I say, if you do a lot of this already, your chances are the feeds you produce will be fine and we can just work with those. And if you host it on your FTP site, great, send us FTP credentials, we can take a look and download a file, and it can really speed the process up of getting you listed quite quickly. Yeah, that's me. Thank you very much for your time. Sorry we ran over a little bit today. Hopefully it's been interesting. There is also a link that's on one of the other download. There's 2 downloads. One of them's about the feed generation. The other one is really a quick summary of what we've covered today, and that includes a registration link. If you want to get listed, you can either call me and we can have a chat, or you can click the registration link on the PDF download. And that will walk you through, it's like a data capture where you can input all of the information that we need to get you listed from start to finish. If you complete that form and submit it, you're pretty much guaranteeing that everything that's needed is fulfilled and satisfied. Okay, thank you again for your time.